Today we are going to report the horror novel Bird Box by Josh Millerman. Bird Box is a 2014 horror fiction novel book written by Josh Millerman. It was adapted into a film of the same name in 2018. The following content of this report includes its author, the book, its movie, the important elements, and its summary. Now we are going to play the trailer of the movie version.
Where are you? Please don't take my job. Please don't take my children!
How have you been feeling? Have you been sleeping any better?
Rough. Then again, I never slept well before. This condition. Condition? It's called pregnancy. It's okay to say it out loud.
Something's happened.
Can you just please drive?
Did you see something?
What's going on?
People describe seeing an entity that takes on the form of your worst fears.
Oh my God.
What are you looking at? What did you see? What's wrong with you? Please stop!
We can't stay here.
Every contact we have had with the outside has brought us death.
Your kids, they deserve hope.
Every single decision I have made has been for them.
They're gone.
Listen to me. We're going on the trip now. It's going to be rough. If you hear something in the woods, you tell me. If you hear something in the water, you tell me. But under no circumstance are you allowed to take off your blindfold.
Do you hear that? The creatures.
The author of The Bird Box. Josh Millerman is an American author of novels and short stories. Before publishing his debut novel Bird Box, he wrote 14 novels, never having shopped one of them. Being the singer and the songwriter of the Detroit rock band The High Strung, Millerman toured the country for 6 years. He wrote many of the rough drafts for his novels in the passenger seat between cities on tour. He said that he do this because he is happy when he writes stories, and he never assumed they'd be published one day. And even one of his works, The Bird Box, was adapted on a film last 2018. Millerman often says that he lived in a long, glorious delusion in which he took part in phantom interviews, pretended to have an agent, debated with fictitious editors, and placed invisible hardcover books upon his shelves. It wasn't until a friend from high school, Dave Seymour, contacted him that those delusions became reality. His friend, Dave Seymour, having worked with authors and properties in Hollywood, asked Millerman permission to send one of his books to some people he knew in book business. And that is when his horror fiction novel Bird Box was released in 2014 as his debut novel, and many short stories and novels have followed.
The book is written by Josh Millerman and was first published in the United Kingdom on March 27, 2014 and May 13, 2014 through Echo Press. The book follows a woman who must find a way to guide herself and her children to safety despite the potential threat from an unseen adversary. The story is partially told via flashbacks and takes place during 3 time periods. The book takes place in the present day, and two previous periods are revealed in flashback sequences. The story is told from the perspective of the main character, Mallory. Bird Box is a 2018 American post-apocalyptic horror thriller film directed by Susan Peer. Following a screenplay written by Eric Heiserer, Bird Box had its world premiere at the AFI Fest on November 12, 2018 and began a limited release on December 14 before streaming worldwide on Netflix on December 21, 2018. The film received mixed reviews from critics.
The characters of the story. Mallory, the main character who seeks to survive the devil creatures together with her son and daughter. Tom, the man from the safe house who survived with Mallory and the kids. Shannon, the sister of Mallory. Boy, the son of Mallory whom she named Tom in the end. Girl, the daughter of Mallory's friend Olympia who was also named after her. Cheryl, one of the survivors whose quick thinking helped to save some people in the house. Lucy and Felix, the survivors who left the house with a car and never been seen again. Gary, the secondary antagonist in the story. Lastly is the creatures, the main antagonists in the story. They are malevolent, unseen beings who cause humans to look at them and go insane.
Pregnant Mallory goes to the hospital for a constant checkup and sees people that go insane and kills themselves. Chaos has started that even her sister Jess commits suicide while driving with Mallory and crashes the car. They both survive, but Jess still kills herself by getting hit by a truck. The turmoil has started and everyone tries to survive by not looking at the unknown creature. Mallory receives help from other people and gets into a house with Tom, Greg the homeowner, Charlie, Felix, Cheryl, Samantha, and Jason. To make themselves safe, they cover the windows and blindfold themselves when they get outside. Another survivor named Olympia was also brought into the house and stayed among them. Greg guards the house using CCTV and ties himself up to not kill himself. However, his death still occurs by smashing his head at the edge. Their resources are now insufficient and they luckily go to the supermarket safely. They grab foods as much as they can, but suddenly they heard Charlie's co-worker in the freezer begging to be let out. They try to hold him back, but then Charlie charges his co-worker, which has them locked in the freezer. Not all of them got home safely. Later on, Olympia welcomed a desperate man named Gary and tells them that he was a victim and was forced to look at the unknown creatures. They do not trust Gary and so decides to investigate the situation further. Both Mallory and Olympia go into labor on the same night, but Gary started chaos between him and the other housemates. Mallory and Olympia call for the others, but their cries are left unanswered. Gary opened the windows and forced them to look into the creature to kill themselves. Olympia fails to look away and jumps out the window. Many of them were killed by Gary, but Tom managed to kill Gary and took care of Mallory and the babies. They both raised the children and did not give names. One night, they received a radio call from Rick saying that their compound has plenty of essential needs. Mallory hesitated but continued to go to the safe place. However, they were ambushed by unblindfolded people along their way, and Tom tries to distract them so that Mallory and the children can escape safely. Tom removed his blindfold and then saw the creature, but before he kills himself, he still managed to kill the Marauder leader who is following Mallory. Mallory and the children go to the river and still manage to stay together even at the rapids. The three walk through the woods where the entity whispers to them to remove their blindfold. Sooner they were separated because Mallory fell down from the hill. The entity used Mallory's voice to make the children draw their blindfold, but Mallory tries to find them and make them safe. She follows the sounds of the birds and safely got into the compound full of blind people. The safe place was a school of the blinds, and the people there were protected from the creatures. At the end of the novel, Mallory finally feeling that she is in a safe place. She later on names the children whom she has been calling boy and girl. The boy named Tom and the girl named Olympia.
Birdbags Millerman's novel tackles the central themes of survival, hope, love, and the sub-theme of motherhood. Birdbag's ending perfectly summarizes the noble upending of ideas about what constitutes weakness and what constitutes strength related to these themes. Mallory thinks that to love openly is a weakness. That is why she avoids to see the reality of her life, but opening herself up to love is what saves her children. The hope of being able to overcome these things that we thought we cannot fathom was also shown in the story, and the love and influence of hope that we receive from those who surround us within our life obstacles makes us believe that we will soon find our safe haven. Lastly, the theme survival addressed how people in reality face the ugly truths that we do not want to acknowledge. It gives us the idea that any answers we search for exist solely in our ability and way of accepting and facing it. Only through this we can finally let go of our judgments and our blindfolds.